You have to teach employees to think like you thinking, like the owner. There's no room for that employee mindset in my business. Everybody has to hustle. Everybody has to think and prioritize properly and understand what this business is about. And we're not a nonprofit organization. We're not here just sitting 8 to 5, waiting until we can leave. No, everybody has to roll up their sleeves and work really, really hard and make sure this business is successful. And if they're not putting their 100%, they're not a good fit for their position.
Welcome to the Cleaning Journey podcast, where we talk about the real stories behind building cleaning businesses that actually work. I'm your host, Misael Avalos. I started my business back in 2018 from scratch, and I built it into a 7-figure cleaning company. Now I sit down with other cleaning business owners to share their wins, their losses, their struggles, and their experiences that have helped them grow. Whether you're just getting started or you're already scaling, this is your place to learn, get inspired, and also level up your business and life. Let's jump in.
My name is Paul, and I moved to United States back in 1998 with my family. We moved from Ukraine, and I've been in the cleaning industry for over 15 years. I've owned other businesses. I was a general contractor for 13 years. I owned a retail store for 9 years where I sold high-end Italian cabinets, appliances, countertops, flooring. But my cleaning business was the first business I opened back in 2010. And I started out as a residential cleaning company in the beginning. But then over the years, I realized that commercial is where it's at. So we transitioned into the commercial because commercial is what gives us that stable, predictable income every month, and it's relationships, it's recurring accounts, it's not one-off type of jobs. So there is 4 categories in my cleaning business, which is called Alora Cleaning. It's janitorial. That's like our number 1 category. Number 2 is apartment complexes. We work with property managers. And those are also recurring accounts because each property manager sends us multiple work orders for move-out cleans. A third category would be post-construction cleaning. We work with builders, contractors all over Sacramento area, Bay Area, Reno, Truckee. Now we have 7 locations all over United States, and we're expanding, on almost every 2 weeks, we're opening up a new location. So we do a lot of post-construction cleaning jobs, commercial and residential. And then, of course, we still have the category of residential cleaning, which is the least lucrative category, but it keeps our people busy. Somebody calls us, wants a move out clean and ready to pay $600. Why would we turn them down, right? So we still have our residential division, but we don't really invest our time, energy, and finances into promoting the residential side of the business. We're really focusing on B2B. My role in the business, I'm the owner, I'm the founder. I do not handle day-to-day operations myself. I have an operations manager. I actually have 2 operation managers right now that handle all the day-to-day operations. They generate estimates, they collect payments, they follow up with the clients, they schedule cleaners, they do everything. So my job is to oversee them, make sure that, they're doing their job and they're doing it to the best standards out there. Everybody's happy, clients are happy. I'm being copied on all the emails, so I see and I know everything that's happening within my business. But my main focus is expanding the business. I'm a business coach as well. I coach business cleaning owners how to start and how to scale their cleaning business to 7 figures. So through coaching, I started franchising my cleaning business. Some of my coaching students, they just turned to be franchisees. So that's what I do a lot on daily basis. I sit on Zoom calls. I do strategy sessions. I open up new locations. Of course, I'm always overseeing that marketing activity, and I'm closely working with our marketing partners to make sure that, we're sending out enough emails every month. Our ads campaigns are working the way they're supposed to. Like I'm keeping an eye more on the marketing, new clients, hiring people. I still do that to this day because I've learned over the years that, it only takes one bad apple to mess everything up in the business. One bad employee can make a lot of damage. So I'm not delegating that task. I'm actually interviewing and hiring all of the cleaners myself. And that's the only time they really see me and talk to me during that initial interview. And then I hire outside salespeople. I hire my administrative assistant. So I do a lot of hiring. And that's pretty much it, But for the most part, I oversee the business on the highest level. I don't do personally any day-to-day operations. And that's the only way you can really scale your business. If you learn how to delegate, have systems in place, and, have everything structured in a way where you as an owner is not in you're not present in any steps of the process of your business.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, that's a lot of things that you're doing right. I mean, you just blew my mind there on that intro because that's the exact way a business owner should operate is focusing on those specific areas, the sales, the marketing. I'm all with you with the hiring. I do the same. That's the time that they see me. From there, it's out to my team. But those tasks are the tasks that help our business grow, right? We should be focusing on those green tasks, those money tasks, and and then delegate the rest. How old are you?
43.
43. So you have some experience on your belt and you've done other businesses. Now, why cleaning? Like how did you get into the cleaning part?
That's a great question. So I was working as an employee for a construction company in administrative role. I was basically the vice president of finance and administration. When I was hired in that company, it was a very small business, and I was the first office employee. Right, I was basically holding the ropes for the owner. But then that business grew to being about $60 million per year business in 5 years, me working there. And I had this big checkbook and I was writing all these vendors checks, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of transactions. And I was collecting all the money. I was paying everybody. I was collecting, I was paying. All the cash flow was going through me. And, when I was seeing the checks that I was writing to those vendors, I'm like, man, these guys are making a ton of money here. I'm over here, the big shot, writing everybody checks, working for 25 bucks an hour. Like, how can I get on that side of the equation? Right. So I had this idea, because I was already working in the service business, and I understood the service business principles and how it works. I'm like, I'm going to hire a couple of girls, pay them, 20 bucks an hour or whatever the rate was at that point. That was back in 2010. And I'm going to start bidding on these projects that this company is doing for post construction cleaning. Of course, I had to talk to the owner, get his approval, because that could potentially be a conflict of interest. He said, no problem, you can do it as long as you follow the same approval process as any other vendor in our company, right? So even though my position was higher than project manager's position, I still had to go to the project manager with my quote, get it approved. Then I would dispatch my girls to go do the cleaning. Then I would submit my invoice for approval. They would have to approve it. And then that approved invoice would get on my desk. And now I could write my company a check. Okay, so this is how I started my cleaning business. While I was still an employee of the company, I became a vendor of the same company. And that didn't last for too long because the partner of that, the main boss, I would say, saw this opportunity. He's like, I'm going to do this. My family, my relatives, I'm the partner in the business. I'm going to take this opportunity. So Paul cannot do this anymore. And for
Mhm.
me, it was painful. It didn't feel fair. It was like, what the heck is going on? And we made an agreement. I mean, that company was probably doing 50 to 70 projects at the same time. So that's a big account I landed right there, right? And it ended pretty quickly. And even though it seemed like it was a negative situation in the moment, in reality, as I look back at it, it was actually a very good situation for me because that threw a challenge. I was challenged. Okay. I was like pushed to my limits. Okay. What are you going to do now, Paul? Are you going to give up? Or are you going to prove yourself and everyone else that you can do it with or without them? And having that kind of sort of a competitive nature and always wanting to own my own business, I'm like, this is my opportunity to shine. So I built a website, started doing marketing, started landing my own clients. Business started getting a lot of traction, momentum. I'm like, I'm doing this, this is great. And I'm not dependent on anyone's approvals. And, I'm not going to be put in that situation again. And, that started, moving really good. I started making money. Of course, you can only do that for so long because, if you're an employee in a company and you also run your own business, at the same time, this kind of creates a conflict of interest. You will always prioritize your interest and interest of your business over, the interest of another business. So it was kind of clear at that point that I needed to spread my wings, started my own thing. Obviously, before I left the business, I trained several employees to do the same work I was doing by myself for the last 30 days. I wasn't even doing anything other than just checking to make sure that everything works, everything's being recorded, so the company doesn't feel any kind of pain or any kind of negative effect from me leaving because I was in such important role in the business. So once that took place, I departed, rented my own office, and the reason what gave me confidence to rent my own office was because I was also presented with a great opportunity for construction. It was a $245,000 project in San Francisco, which was already approved. All I had to do is sign the contract and start doing that job. And, I already knew that I had $245,000 in my accounts receivable. So I'm going to have enough money to pay for that rent. And that's how I started my cleaning and my construction company at the same time. And that's when the journey began for me as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That you got first off, kudos to you for just knowing that, yeah, I got to figure something out. Like, I mean, this is working, but I got to figure something out. I think a lot of people stall and big things like that happen to them. And you decided to say, hey, I'm going to take this opportunity and make something work. And look at you now. Now you're franchising and opening a new location every 2 weeks. I mean, that's amazing. That's,
Yeah.
that's, uh, that's I mean, that's a big jump. You've been in business how long you said? So you said
So
2010 is when you started?
it's 2010, right? Yeah, of course, been in the business longer than that because I was, working in construction since I graduated high school back in 2000. My first job was Butler Heating and Air Conditioning, and I was installing AC units at the new development homes. And I absolutely hated that job with all my being. If you can imagine, 100 degrees outside, it's about 150 degrees under the attic, right? So you're working in a sauna covered with insulation. Your hands are caught with metal straps. You're catching nails with your back. You're crawling in there like a ninja, And I was like, man, I quit. I worked there for a year. I quit. I said, construction's not for me. I'm never doing this again. Went to college for business administration. It was like a 2-year program. And, finishing that first year, almost finishing that first year, I was offered a position at this small at that time construction company. And I'm like, man, I've just learned all this stuff. I'm going to do all the computer stuff and all the bookkeeping stuff. And I've built a great system for that business. I actually watched it grow from almost nothing to $60 million per year business in 5 years. They became the biggest restoration company in California. They opened a location in Oregon, in Washington. Yeah, I've learned a lot. That was my actual real business school because, I was working right next to the owner. I was holding the ropes for him. Like, imagine cash flow. I was the cash flow guy. All the cash flow was going through me. I was collecting and I was paying. I had the access to checking account. I was signing checks, full transparency. Like, I saw everything, right? And that's what I was really learning the business. And I was watching the owner, how he solves problems, how he hires people, how he fires people, how he, reacts to certain situation. And I was like, wow, this guy is a beast, and I was just like soaking it in. That was my business school for 5 years. That was my mentor. We're still in good relationship with the owner, and he helped me a lot once I started my businesses and once I needed to make some really big decisions in my companies, like, investors investing a ton of money. How do you structure that deal? Should I go this route or this route? Like all the very, very important decisions, I would call him. I'm like, Max, I need your help. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing everything I can on my own, but then you get to the point where it's just above your pay grade. You're like, oh my goodness, I need some advice here. And because I was investing, myself so much into his business, because I always treated it as my business. I was stressing out about how are we going to pay vendors next week? We don't have enough money in the account. I'm over there, not sleeping like it's my business, right? Even though I was an employee, but I had the mindset, this is mine. Like, I want to learn how to run a business. I want to feel like a business owner. And, because I had that mindset, I was going above and beyond for the company. I wasn't just, doing my 8 to 5 type of thing. So because and of course, the owner saw that, I was a very valuable asset for the company. He kind of, was helping me after I started my entrepreneurship journey. And he would help me with advice, and he would always be open to mentor me and give me advice and help me. So it was a really good, mutually beneficial relationship. Yeah. But that's, learning from someone, having a mentor, it's very important because you can only do so much on your own. You can only know so much. You don't know what you don't know. So having that person that can help you, mentor you, show you some things, that really helps.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on that one that you could learn. I mean, school's going to teach you school stuff, right?
Mhm.
Those books will go out of date. Learning from someone else will just speed up the process. And when you can find a mentor and, that's fantastic that you were put into that situation and you took advantage of it, and that is like what you're saying, it's a huge reason for your success now. So when you can learn from someone else and you can learn from their mistakes and you can learn how to build or whatever it is that you're trying to learn, like you're going to move so much faster. What was talking about systems, what are those systems? Because in the cleaning industry, as you speak to a lot of clean business owners, there are a few things that um get in our way. It's the hiring, it's the sales, right? The sales and the marketing and the finances, right? I talk to a lot of cleaning business owners myself, and um, finances. I'm sure you know that a lot of people don't know their numbers, and I'm pretty surprised by that. And they don't know if they're profitable, and they don't know how to hire or onboard. How do you ensure that consistency across your systems is smooth without you micromanaging?
hmm So you touched on two points. One is hiring, and one is like the finances, the systems. So as far as the hiring process goes, it all comes down to knowing how to search for good candidates, how to find them, right? And there is platforms for that. And the first thing I look at is their experience. I don't care about their education. I don't care about how friendly they are and what kind of positive attitude they have, what they put on their resume. I'm a hard worker type of, description. Like, how many experience in cleaning do you have? Professional experience, not cleaning your home for 30 years because you're 30
Yeah,
years old and you started when you were two, like
yeah,
professional cleaning experience. So when you see that, you already know that this could be a qualified candidate, because they have 7 years in janitorial or house cleaning experience. And then I just schedule an interview. I used to do them in person back in the days. Now everything's on Zoom, so convenient. And, I just talk to the person, make sure that they look good. They're not weird or anything. They don't have like weird energy or all kinds of piercing on their face and tattoos and, gangster looking type of, cleaner, because that's going to be the face of the company. People
yeah,
don't see me as the owner. They don't talk to me. I don't come and clean their home, but who do they see? They see the people that come and clean their homes and their businesses. So, those people have to look presentable. They have to be professional. They have to look professional, have that experience, have that equipment, their cleaning supplies, knowing what they're doing. They're the specialist. I make sure basically that I hire specialists, people that have been doing it for a long time. Obviously, you will always get a bad apple here and there. No matter how great everything sounds and looks, give them that first project. And then, we get a picture from the property manager. You guys have spilled some chlorine on the carpet, and now the carpet needs to be replaced. The house wasn't clean to that level that it was supposed to be clean. And on the interview and the experience, everything's like, my goodness, this is a great asset. You have high hopes, and then boom, you get this kind of result. And of course, that person needs to be out immediately. So you have to be mentally prepared for that. That's normal. That's just a part of the game. The job is to keep interviewing, keep hiring. And, there is a saying, hire slow, fire fast. If that person is not doing what they're supposed to do, they're late, they're not communicating, they're not cleaning the way they're supposed to, we'll give them one shot, two shots, and that's it, and then we just tell them, sorry, but, we cannot continue this relationship because that reflects really badly on our reputation, on our company. And then you just keep the good ones and you get rid of the bad ones. And it takes some months, it takes some years. You have to be mentally prepared. That's just a part of the business. You have to keep trying new people, keep hiring, and then you kind of like filter out all the bad stuff and leave all the good stuff. And over the years, you will build a great team and, you give them incentives, you treat them well, you pay them fast, you pay them on time, and they'll stick with you. Most of our cleaning technicians, they stay with us for many, many years. It's a long-term relationship. So that's kind of the process for hiring and filtering out, and holding on to the good candidates, getting rid of the bad ones. As far as the financials go, not knowing your numbers, there is tools out there, right? For example, we use a CRM called Jobber CRM.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah, and it's an amazing tool where you can
Shout out to Jobber.
shout out to Jobber. Yeah, I mean, great platform. You see everything, all your estimates, all your contracts, all your proposal, all your invoices, what is past due. Like you see everything, right? Before Jobber, I've tried different CRMs. We were mostly relying on QuickBooks. We had an accountant who would do our bookkeeping, our reconciliations. They would send me the monthly financial statements every month, and I could see, how much revenue I generated, where the money went, what's the net. And I still get those financial reports. You have to look at them. You have to look at your financial report, and you don't just look at it and forget about it, like analyze it. Like, okay, so I've generated this much in a month, but this is my net. Where did all the money go, right? And you just start looking on all those line items and examine, okay, this is how much I spent for marketing. This is how much I spent for insurance. This is how much I spent for payroll. And then something will always jump out at you like, oh my goodness, I don't remember spending that much money for marketing. So you expand that and you look at every transaction, like where is it going? And then you start analyzing, is it producing me the ROI? Am I getting the return on the investment, or should I turn off this campaign? Or, for example, you see a whole bunch of subscriptions, and half of those subscriptions you don't even use. You didn't even know you were getting charged. Like, you really have to pay attention to where your money is going. And I've learned it the hard way with the big businesses. When you generate millions and millions of dollars, and everybody's connected to your checking account, and they just grab whatever they want anytime they want, money is leaking. There is a big leakage. There is holes through where the money escapes. And then it seems like you're making all this money and you always have this cash flow. But at the end of the day, what's left? What is the bankable profit? So you have to be very, 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 I would say,
You,
frugal when it
yeah.
comes to, that's the word I was looking for, frugal when it comes to business expenses. It's not that you're greedy. It's not that you're trying to count every penny, but this is what makes a profitable. This is the difference between profitable business and non-profitable. Could be two exactly the same businesses generating the same amount of revenue and projects, but this business will have this much in net, and this business will have zero or maybe even losing money because they don't know how to manage their finances. They don't pay attention to where their money is going. They're so busy of, focusing on getting more accounts, more project, more cash flow, where they're not paying attention how that money is being distributed. So, having an account and evaluating your financial statements every month, looking at your numbers. Besides the jobber, we also have our accounts receivable spreadsheet. I'm doing it in two places, not me personally, my operations manager. I actually make them enter everything manually too in the spreadsheet. And then I have my dashboard. I see how much money came in, how much profit we're making, when we got our payments. And then Jobber is another way how we track things. And then if Jobber is showing us a little bit different information from the spreadsheet, okay, something's not reconciling. Now we start looking, what is the issue? Why does the spreadsheet show people owe us this much, but the jobber show us less. Where is the few $1,000 discrepancy? And you start finding those things. So it's all about tracking in business. You need to know how to track your numbers, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to numbers, right? We're in business to make money, not to lose money or break even. And if you don't have good tracking systems and you don't pay attention to where your money is going, you could be doing great on the top line, but on the bottom line, it's like, where is that money? It's all gone because
Yeah.
you were just not paying attention. You were careless. And I think a lot of business owners make that mistake in the beginning, and they don't understand the overhead. Overhead. Keep it for as low as possible, for as long as possible. Of course, if you scale, you will eventually need to increase your overhead. It's inevitable, but keep that overhead as low as you can possibly keep for as long as you can possibly keep. Save money. Don't just throw money for this employee, this equipment. Oh, we need to buy this printer. We need to buy the best computer. Like, no, no, you keep that overhead low, keep your expenses low, so that way you're profitable, and then you can reinvest a portion of that profit back into your business. And you need to be smart about how you reinvest in the money. You need to reinvest money into that which will produce you more profit, which is marketing, hiring another salesperson, building that infrastructure that will bring you more and more revenue, more profit, and that's where you really focus on.
That's Yeah, I'm gonna write some notes on that. Um, yeah, that's you took me back into, I used to be the person with um a, a large overhead. I making all this money, and I'm like, okay, we have all these accounts, we're doing well, and then I look at my financials. And I'm just like, where is this money going to? And I had mentorship at that time, and my mentor was like, okay, let's look at your P&L. Let's see where the money is flowing. And
Mhm,
sure enough, because I was so focused on hiring the people, meeting the clients, doing all
mhm,
these other things, I completely spaced out that I had a large overhead. I was just, yeah, add it to the account. Yeah, let's bring that in. Let's do this. And
mhm.
so you make a great point
And
that
it adds up. It adds up at
it
the end of the
does.
day. You don't realize how fast it adds up.
Yeah.
$100 here, $300 here, 1,000 here. Doesn't seem like a lot, but then it all adds up, and now you're basically throwing away, maybe $10,000 a month that you could have added to your bottom line on your P&L. That's your profit that you're just basically throwing away. You have to think two ways. You have to think how to generate more business. That's very important. And at the same time, you need to think, how can I save a dollar here and there? Because that saving, whatever you save, is what you earned. That adds directly to your bottom line of your business. That's why negotiating is important. You don't just accept every number that comes at you. You need to negotiate. You need to squeeze those numbers. You need to think 5 times. Do I really need this platform? Do I really need this software? Do I really need this employee? Or I can get away without it? Do I really need this extra, computer or a printer? Or do I need to pay that much for that piece of equipment? Is it going to bring me closer to my financial goal? Is it going to make our business more profitable? Like, what's the point of it, to have all this fancy stuff and make no profit?
Yeah. No, that's big right there. I mean, even with the hiring, going back to that, like, one bad apple will ruin the culture. One bad apple will really tick off the wrong client and ruin your reputation online, and so yeah, it's very important that I think we both agree, as business owners, you want to stay in the hiring position for as long as you can so that you could analyze who's coming in and then
Mm,
make sure that your systems take that person from there and set them up for success. And as for the financials part, yeah, look at your statements, have your bookkeeper give you your P&Ls every single month. I have my bookkeeper give me a Zoom video of explaining how the month went at the end of. She likes to do it monthly. I'm cool with doing it quarterly, whatever works for you, but
mhm,
getting an overview of how your business did so that you can make better decisions. You
mhm,
know, You being at the stage that you are in business, how do you approach marketing differently now that you've passed that $1 million? The Cleaning Journey podcast is brought to you by Jobber, the all-in-one CRM built for service pros. From scheduling and payments to quoting and marketing, Jobber makes it simple to manage your business and impress your clients. I use it every day, and it's one of the biggest reasons my business runs smoothly. Try Jobber today with the link in the description down below. Try Jobber today by using the link down below. You can get 14 days free, then 20% off for the next 6 months. You have nothing to lose.
So there is different marketing strategies depending on what kind of cleaning business you're running. So if you're running a residential cleaning and that's your main focus, that's a different marketing strategy. Okay. If you're running B2B, that's a different marketing strategy. So we are doing, like I said in the beginning, commercial. We're focusing on commercial, reaching out to property managers, builders, contractors, regular business owners for janitorial services. There is two types of marketing. There is outbound marketing, and then there is inbound marketing. Outbound marketing is when we are reaching out to the clients, and inbound is when people are calling us, people are reaching out to us. So, in commercial cleaning business, it is extremely important to really nail down your outbound marketing campaign, which consists of three things. Number one, it's email marketing. Email marketing is one of the most effective ways to obtain commercial accounts. And the more emails we can send out every month, the better.
Do
Canvas.
you use Jobber for your email campaigns?
No. We have an affiliate partner that scrapes the internet with AI and they plug it in into their system and they buy domains, they warm up the domains. There is a whole process behind it.
Got it. Okay.
Jabber we use, to kind of follow up with our existing, client list, maybe, send them some promotional stuff, just to keep those accounts live and, have people come back to us, for another cleaning. But like targeted, campaign to get new commercial clients, new property managers, email marketing is absolutely phenomenal. The second one, and I would say this is the most effective outbound marketing campaign, is through canvassing. Canvassing. So you hire outside salespeople, right? And they go and they do door to door, commercial door to door, commercial door to door. They hit property management offices. They hit businesses for janitorial account. They meet them in person. They talk to them. They give them their business card. They take their contact information. They keep following up. It's a follow up game in commercial. You have to keep following up. You're not really closing anyone on the spot. You have to just create awareness, exchange business cards, build a little bit of that rapport, that relationship, and then keep following up until you close that account. And we use Instagram DMs. It's a free way to get clients. You don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to pay for agencies. Instagram has a limit of how many DMs you can send out per day, which is 35 DMs. So you never want to send more or less than 35 DMs per day. And it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day for someone to do that for your business. You just have them send 35 DMs to builders, property managers, real estate agents. And, if you do that 7 days a week, 35 DMs per day, that equals to 1,050 DMs per month. You will get some accounts. You will get some
Yeah,
projects.
exactly.
It's a very simple way. So you're reaching out to them, you're getting into their DM, and you're building a personal relationship right on the Instagram. So those are the three things we really focus on: is email, marketing, canvassing. I always add more and more outside salespeople to my team. If you're in business, somebody has to sell for you. If you don't have salespeople that are selling for you, who's selling for you? How are you making your sales, right? So you have to have salespeople, especially in service business. And then, of course, when it comes to inbound marketing, that would be your Google My Business profile, SEO. You're ranking in the first three positions of Google Maps. People will search for your services. They will find you. They will call you. Now your phone starts ringing because you're dominating the Google Maps section. You run ads, to get those inbound leads. But for the most part, it's outbound. You have to actually physically go out there and get your accounts, get your relationships. And for post-construction cleaning, we use a platform that basically gives us access to every single commercial post-construction project in 100-mile radius. We get the plans, we know the scope, and then we just hundreds and hundreds of proposals, millions of dollars worth of proposals utilizing that platform, for post construction.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit about marketing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's all good and a lot of valuable information there. And I'm just thinking of the listener, like, well, hey, Paul, I mean, that would be amazing. The marketing, I mean, the email marketing, the canvas, and the direct DMs on social media platforms. How do I hire that salesperson to go to these businesses? Like, how do you pay them? Like, do you have a training? Do you teach them? Then secondly would be, how do I get these contracts? Right? Because we do have a lot of commercial cleaning companies that listen to the pod, and how would they be able to get those bigger contracts? And what are the areas that they need to look at?
Yeah. So as far as hiring, this position is typically 100% commission position. We pay a generous commission from the first invoice the client pays us. And then we have retention bonuses if that account is live for at least 12 months. The salesperson who got that account in the first place will get a bonus at the end of the year. And those bonuses, they add up. So we compensate them generously on the front end when they close the account, and then we give them money on the back end at the end of the 12 months terms. Because it's a 100% commission position, it's hard and difficult to hire someone who has a family, who has bills to pay, right? Who has responsibilities to take care of because, it's a 100% commission and who knows, how it's going to go. So the best people I found for this position are younger folks, 16 years old, 17 years old, 20 years old, like young. My son is 16 years old. He's doing canvassing. He just closed the biggest national property management account for our company that does, has properties all over United States. So it's easy, they just come in, they say hello, they're nice. Here is my card. We work with property managers. We would like to get on your vendors list. That's it. There is no hard sale. There is no overcoming objections. It's just like, hey, we are a cleaning company. If you need us, we're right here. If you don't, that's totally cool. But we know they all need cleaning service. Property managers are always looking for cleaning companies. Builders always need cleaning vendors. So we come to those that we know they need our service. It's just a matter of whether they have a good cleaning service at the moment or they're experiencing issue with their existing cleaning service, which 60% of them are experiencing issues with their existing cleaning service. So that's our crack. That's how we get in. So how's your existing cleaning company? Are they doing a good job? And that's where you're hitting that pain point, right? Hey, we're a local company. We can give you a very competitive quote, no obligations. If you like it, we'd love to work with you. So younger generation that's trying to get kind of like a part-time flexible schedule, make some extra money on the side. They don't have, bills to pay, mortgage to pay, kids to feed. So for them, it's fun. They're flexible. They don't have to do 8 to 5. They can pick their own schedule. They bring me something, I'll share with them. They don't bring me anything, nobody gets anything, right? So there is, as an employer, as a business owner, I don't lose anything if they're not producing or not producing enough. I just have to keep hiring more and more and more of these people. And even if that person worked for 3 months and they decided to part way, okay, no problem. But can you imagine how much value they brought in those 3 months doing canvassing on daily basis, collecting all these business cards, getting us on all these vendors lists and all these property management accounts? They invest a lot into the company at that point, and because they decided to leave early, they're forfeiting all of their retention bonuses. That's their choice.
Yeah.
If you want to have someone treat it more as a job, where you hiring them and you're paying them either a salary or hourly rate through W-2, recently I hired a person, right, that's supposed to be an operations manager. But before they get to the operations manager role, I will have them do GMs. I will have them do canvassing. I will teach them how to do estimates. So they kind of have to understand that side of the business first, the field, side of the business before they can transition fully into the office role and start managing the accounts and start picking up the phone calls and start processing these new transactions and new clients that are coming in. So that's a great way to start someone. For example, if you're just starting a cleaning company and you already have a mindset of delegation, you want to have an operations manager. And of course, your business just started, you don't have enough revenue. Where how do you keep them busy? How do you fill up their time? Put them in a field. You can pay them an hourly rate. You don't have to pay them commission, and they can be out there, canvassing, bringing you business. They're basically like creating work for themselves. They're gonna bring all these accounts. Then later on, they're actually going to be managing for you. So, there is a difference between asset and liability. People that bring you money into the business, salespeople, they're assets. They are people that are actually bring you money. And people that are strictly in the like administrative role, just managing the daily operations, they're not bringing anything in really. They're more just an infrastructure to support the volume that your business generates. So they're more of an expense. They're more of a liability, right? So, you put them in that asset position, that employee, and then, eventually they can, start managing the daily operations. But because they've experienced the field and they understand the importance of bringing new business to the company, they're going to be a lot more effective in their administrative roles. Like they start thinking as an owner. They start hustling. Because you put them in that position in the beginning, you've developed a certain mindset in them. So every time the client will call, they will make sure to get that account, to close the deal, to take that credit card payment. They're not gonna just put the phone. Oh, I don't know if I have anyone available for tomorrow, so I'm just gonna let this client off the phone and call them back for their credit card once I figure out if I have someone available tomorrow. No, you don't do that. You take the credit card and then you figure out who's gonna be cleaning tomorrow. It's a completely different mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that process because yeah, that can easily you can get easily distracted and then not even get back to that person. Yeah,
And
it
you can always click, cancel the transaction. If you weren't able to find someone for tomorrow, you just cancel it, and that person won't even see that transaction on their bank statement. It's not even going to show up. You just drop that charge. But if they already gave you a credit card, you already locked them in. Now it's just finding that the right person to do the job. I mean, it's a mindset thing, and you have to teach employees to think like you thinking, like the owner. There is no room for that employee mindset in my business. Everybody has to hustle. Everybody has to think, and prioritize properly and understand what this business is about, and that we're not a nonprofit organization. We're not here just sitting 8 to 5, waiting until we can leave. No, everybody has to roll up their sleeves and work really, really hard and make sure this business is successful. And if they're not putting their 100%, they're not a good fit for their position.
yeah. When do you instill that type of thinking to those new hires? Like, do you do that yourself? Do you outsource that? Do you have like you can have like an onboarding, a video sesh, or what do you do to instill that owner mindset in them? Hey, real quick, do me a solid. Just like, subscribe, and share with another cleaning business owner. We want to grow this community together because when we all learn together, the industry becomes stronger. Let's get back to our guest.
So, because I'm a business coach, right, I have a coaching program for people who want to start a cleaning business, scale a cleaning business. So, I actually have a whole mastery program that I've developed, which is basically like a course in a way, but it also has the community piece to it where people are communicating with each other. It's like a whole hub, right? They get in and they can watch the training modules on every subject, marketing, hiring, sales, all the essential tools the business needs. So there is a whole portal of, from start, how to, where to open up your entity, where to open up your bank account, your merchant account, all the way to sales and closing $1 million accounts. So what I do is I actually give them access to the platform because every playbook is in there. Every template, my mindset videos are there. Like basically, I'm teaching someone to start and scale their cleaning business. And I'm letting my employees be a part of that community and watch those training modules to get that mindset to start thinking as an owner of the company. And they can also find basically a manual, a playbook for any operation, standard operating procedure, any template, everything's in there. Like I don't even have to train anybody really like I used to before. Every time I hire somebody, I had to manually train them every single time. No, here is the access. Watch it. If you have any questions, you hit a bottleneck, hit me up. I'll help you. So it makes the training process much easier and not so involved. I had to, sit in front of my computer and record all those videos. I had to invest a lot of time and effort and energy into building that. But now it helps with my coaching. It helps with training my employees. It's a great tool to have. It's a
Yeah.
playbook vault. That's what it is.
The playbook?
Playbook vault.
Playbook Vault. How can that cleaning company, that cleaning business owner that, is making, $30,000 a month, and they want to improve their onboarding process and get their new people and current people to have that mindset, but they don't have what you have, right? They don't have the Playbook Vault. What would be the advice that you would give to them?
The advice would be they need to create a playbook vault. They need to start creating playbooks. The easiest way, the reason why I did it myself, because I'm coaching these people, right? And I've had to record not just like playbooks for standard operating procedures, but how to open a business, excuse me, how to run a business. So that's why I have that mastery program. But in the perfect world, if you're just an owner of the business, you need to have an operating system dashboard, which has, and I can show it to you, with the screen share if you want to see it. But basically, it's an operating dashboard, CEO operating dashboard, where you have your directory of all your cleaners, all your office employees, every contact, every email, every phone number should be there. Nobody should be texting each other. Oh, can you send me a text message to Martha, or can you send me a phone number to this person? No, you go into the directory and you will find every single contact information for any person that works for the company. There is our mission statement, there is our core values, there are our strategic anchors, there is our playbook vault, which has playbooks for every standard operating procedure. And this is what I wanted to say. Employees that work on those standard operating procedures should be the ones recording those playbooks, not the owner. They create the playbook. So if you have an operations manager who does X amount of tasks every day, he needs to open up his computer. There is this app called loom.com where you record your screen. You can be visible on the screen when you show stuff around. You can turn off the camera and just show the screen. Okay, this is Jobber. I'm about to create an estimate. This is what I click. This is what I do. This is what I save. This is how I send. You created a playbook in a video format on how to generate an estimate. Boom, done. Save it. Save it in a playbook vault. You can even have it probably in Google Drive. Just have a playbook vault folder for everybody to be able to access. Okay, how do I invoice a client? Okay, here is my screen. This is what I click. This is what I do. This is how I do it. This is why I do it. Boom, 3 minute, 5 minute playbook has been recorded. Now, when you have a new person that's going to be taking that position, for example, this person says, I'm giving you 2 week notice. I found a better job, whatever, no problem. The new person comes in to replace them. The first thing they're going to do is open the playbook vault. And they're going to start watching those playbooks one by one. That's their manual, that's their instruction on what to do. And it's best to record playbooks in a video format because you will not skip a step. You will get to your final destination in that process because you're doing it. If you're going to be typing in instructions, click this, do this, do this, you might forget a step. And then the person who's never done that task is going to be reading, following your instructions, and then they're going to get stuck because there is a step that's missing. So that's why I would highly recommend record every standard operating procedure in a video format. Loom is a great platform. I believe it's like $20, $24 a month or something like that. And that's it. You just have your employees record the playbooks. And then if something changes, our process in the business It always evolves. New process starts. We replace this CRM with this CRM. You constantly have to update the playbooks, and the owners of those playbooks that they've created, those playbooks are responsible of updating and making sure that all the playbooks are up to date. That's going to be their responsibility. So as an owner, you don't have to do all of that. Just have your employees do that.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's the key to getting everybody on the same page. If they all know what they need to do, then we don't need to repeat ourselves.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
remember many times just training people and repeating it, and it's you're gonna say something different
Mm.
the next time. As easy as that, record your playbooks, get that playbook vault, put the specific trainings on there for that specific position. And if you can do it, have your employees do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would
You know,
highly recommend. See, my case is a little different. Like I said, that's the only reason what I've created that mastery program. It helps my coaching. It just increases the effectiveness of the coaching. People are watching the videos in between the one-on-one calls every week, and I don't have to explain to them 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. They've already educated enough for me to take them from that point to the next point, right? And because I'm the coach, obviously I'm in the videos, I'm coaching them in those videos. And my playbook vault is a lot more extensive than what we are referring to right now for basically hiring people and making sure that they're on the same page and that they know what to do and how to do things. Those are more like operational standard operating procedure playbooks, not like overall how to build and design a business and how to do marketing and how to hire and fire and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. So we'll end that topic with this question, just so that we could really instill the importance of building a playbook for your business, a standard operating system. Why do you think, I mean, we can clearly already know, but just so that we can get that direct response, like, why do you think it's the most important part of a business owner's time to get this done?
To do the playbook vault?
Yeah.
Well, because that's so we're right. What we're discussing right now, it's operating system for the business. That's what
Mhm.
it is. It's a part of the operating system. It's putting that business on autopilot and learning how to have everything run without you. Okay. So you build something that trains people, right? So you don't have to be there training people. Like you build this in order for your business to run and scale on its own. And that is the only way that business is gonna scale to 7 figures, 8 figures. And it doesn't matter what kind of business it is. You have to have the mindset of putting everything on autopilot, like building systems that will do the follow-ups for you, that will, like our commercial accounts, most of our commercial accounts, we don't invoice them every month. They're on auto pay. They sign a ACH authorization form or a credit card authorization form, and their credit cards and their bank accounts get charged automatically, and the Jabber CRM just sends them a receipt. Thank you for the payment. Here is your invoice. Here is your receipt. So like things like that. Like try to put everything on autopilot as much as you can,
Mhm.
and that's going to give you freedom as a business owner. Like we are not just money motivated as entrepreneurs. We are freedom motivated too. At least I am. And I'm pretty sure that most of the business people out there who started their business, they are having this mindset, I'm going to make a lot of money and then I'll be able to travel and spend time with my family. And then they end up in the prison of their own business. And they don't have time to enjoy their life. They don't have time to spend time with their family and go to vacations and stuff like that because they are the operating system of their business. It's a you operating system. You are the operating
Yeah.
system. Remove you from the operation, the business is going to fall apart. That business has no value for the investors. If you ever want to sell your business, if they see that you are the business and they understand that the moment this transaction is going to take place and you're out of the picture, everything's going to collapse. Investors who want to buy a business, they want a vehicle and then they want you to hand them the keys They start the vehicle and it runs, that's all they want.
Mhm.
So having an operating system installed in your business gives you freedom. It allows your business to scale and, is just a valuable business overall. If you ever decide to sell that type of business that's on autopilot, you're going to be able to sell it fast and for the top dollar. So if you don't have this mindset, if you don't have an operating system installed in the business, you're running everything day to day, you're sending out invoices, you're doing the estimating, you're doing the sales, you're doing the cleaning. You are the business. You stop working, you stop making money.
Yeah.
You got sick, you stop making money. You want to go to
Yep.
vacation, you stop making money. If you have a business that runs on its own, you could be somewhere, in Europe or in Hawaii, drinking your margaritas and look at your account and the deposits keep coming in. They don't stop. Business is
Yeah.
not stopping because you're not there. It works
Yeah.
without you. That should be the mindset. That should be the goal in a business. And it takes skill and it takes knowledge to know how to build a business this way.
Yeah. And it takes time
And
too,
it
right?
takes
It takes time, and, that's extremely that's where I believe, based on conversations that I've had, and I mean in my life, is that's what we want, right? We don't want to be working in the business. We want to be working on it. And in order to be able to do that, you got to surround yourself with the right people and also get that mentorship. Mentors that will
yeah.
be able to make your vehicle run by itself, help you run, be able to see things in a different perspective so that you can start implementing things so that you could get to that point where your business runs by itself. And it
Mhm.
takes time and it takes a lot of effort, but I think one of the biggest things is like the decision, right? A lot of people are want results right away, and they gotta decide and commit and know that it's going to be a journey to get there, and it's gonna be a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful thing, because I can relate to that. My business runs by itself. I jump in maybe 10 hours a week if I want. That's more of meetings with my staff, my office staff, just to see how things are going, get an overview of the numbers of how we did that week. And then, that gives me the opportunity to be with my family and be with my daughters. And, I was looking at my daughter today and I'm like, you were just so lucky. Like, I am with you all the time. Like, you got mom and dad with you all the time. There's people out there that wake up at 5 in the morning and they got to be at work at 6 and they're there all day. And, the fact that I get to do that is a great feeling, and anybody is capable of getting that, creating that in their life. They just got to decide that, hey, these things are important for my business and I got to work hard to implement these things. But if I could work with someone that can teach me to go faster, then that gives me an opportunity to live that opportunity, to live that dream a lot faster. And I say that because I know that you're helping service-based businesses. I do the same, and there's that availability there, right? If someone is serious to do that, decide and commit and make a difference in your business. I have a few fire round questions for you. You can answer it in a word or a sentence. Uh, and we'll just kind of go through them. It's about five of them. Are you uncertain about what you're doing in your cleaning business that's not taking you to the next level? Or you might feel like what you're doing is not the right things. It is okay. That's why I'm here. I help cleaning business owners just like you get the right answers, put good systems and processes to grow your business with confidence. Without confidence, you cannot be a business owner and lead your people. Click the link down below to schedule a free call. We'll talk all business and I can give you the right steps for you to take to give you that confidence back. I cannot wait to connect with you. Systems or people, what comes first to you?
Hmm. That's a good question. I'd say systems
Systems. Why is that?
because people come and go. It's just one of those things in business. Person comes, works for a while, then they leave you. Another person comes, they work, they leave, or sometimes you have to fire them. But, my business still runs. It runs on the systems. It doesn't run on people. People come and go. They're like, if you think about a car, It's like a part, a car part, like, as harsh as it might sound, but that's the reality in business. Like this part is responsible for a certain function. And
Yeah.
sometimes that part breaks. Sometimes you need to replace it. Sometimes it needs some maintenance work, but it's a part, right? And it's a replaceable part. If it's not working, you need to replace it and get a new one, you put them in there. So that's why my business is not run on people and it doesn't heavily depend on people, even though, of course, people work in the business. And of course, it does depend to a certain degree on people that are currently fulfilling those roles, but it runs on the systems. I have a whole ecosystem built. I have the whole thing built to where people can come and go, that the business doesn't suffer. It just keeps going and it just keeps scaling. So I would say
Yeah. Yeah. I like that answer. And the reason, it's a rapid fire round and I stopped on there because it's easy as service-based business owners, especially in the cleaning industry, we have big hearts. We want to help people and we put so much focus on the people and we forget that systems will stay there. If you
yeah.
continue paying that bill, whatever it is, that system will run. If you add videos, that system will run. But when we focus too much on the people and say, well, hey, I'm not gonna fire that person because they're a good tech, they're a really good cleaner and all my clients like them, but
Mhm.
that tech has a shitty attitude. um you
Yeah.
know it's gonna affect your business. So I like that answer. Systems do come first, people make the systems work, but at the end of the
Mhm.
day the systems function with the right people. Sales or
Systems
marketing?
is your business. It's your
Yeah,
business.
it is.
If you don't have systems, you don't really have a business. You have a
Ex-
job, you have a glorified job. You're self-employed, but if you
yeah.
don't have systems, you don't have a business. That is
Yeah,
your business.
I'm with you. Sales or marketing?
In cleaning business, marketing.
One
If we're
number.
talking about like high-end cabinetry or construction, where they need to close $100,000 deal, I would say it's sales. But
Yeah,
in cleaning business, it's all about marketing. It's all about marketing, getting in front of the enough decision makers. I mean, you don't really need to be a great salesperson to sell cleaning service. It all comes down to a price. You know, you can
few.
great salesperson and you can tell them this perfect pitch and show them this perfect pictures. But if you send them a proposal and your numbers are out of line, you're not going to close that job.
Yeah,
So marketing is, I would say, over sales in the cleaning industry for sure.
I agree. One number every owner should track.
Net profit,
Faith in business, private or practiced?
private or practiced?
Yeah,
Practiced.
I like that. One habit that changed everything for you.
I want to add to the previous question. Faith without the works is dead, right? So it has to be practiced. That's what determines
Yes.
the real faith. Sorry. So
Yes.
what's the next question?
No, you're I appreciate you saying that because it is a huge part. We do have the opportunity to lead people in our business, right? And when we practice our faith and when we practice integrity and values, they get to see that. Not only
Of
are
course.
we growing a business and the business is growing, the systems are in place, but, I truly believe that as business owners, we also have that responsibility to
100%.
practice, right?
100%.
One habit that changed everything for you.
One habit that changed everything for me. I'd say my to-do list. For many, many years, I work off my to-do list. So I have my notebook that, I have like this on my desk. I never rely on my memory. I have another app on my phone, which is called To Do app, Microsoft To Do. I'm constantly adding tasks in there. And then still in the morning, every time I come to the office, I transfer all the tasks from my app onto my notebook. And then as I complete my items, I just cross them out and I keep adding more and more and more and more. Never rely on my memory, always rely on my to do list. Of course, I prioritize my tasks. I make sure I focus on the most important tasks first and then go down the line. But what that to do list is such a great habit because you will never forget anything. Some of the items can be sitting there on the slow burner for a long time because they're not that important, but eventually I'm going to get to that thing and I'm going to still complete it. Nothing slips through the cracks if you're writing things down. Don't keep it in your head. Put it on a piece of paper, record it in your phone, and just cross it out, cross it out. Just complete your tasks one by one. Make sure you focus on the most important ones. Make sure you focus on the tasks that actually bring your money into your account tomorrow. This is
Yeah,
how what I teach my employees.
that's a good
Priorities.
habit.
How do I teach them priorities?
Good
Priorities
habit.
is always collecting the money. Okay. That's number one priority. Not paying the money, not doing this, that, collecting the money. Now you have three payments that you need to collect. 20,000 payment, 10,000 payment, and $2,000 payment. Which payment are you going to collect first? That's what I'm asking the employee. Collect 20,000. Great. So that is your highest priority. Collect what is the biggest amount, then you go to the smaller amount, as smallest, and then you can start handling everything else. And of course, responding to leads. I mean, you drop everything. If the lead comes in, you respond right away. I don't care what you're doing. Even if you're in the middle of creating an invoice, responding to leads would be your highest priority right away. So yeah, prioritize, record your tasks, and this is how you're going to be super organized. You will never forget anything ever.
That's a good habit to have. That's a
Yeah.
really good habit to have. And it's as simple as getting a $2 notebook,
Yeah.
putting it in an area where as soon as you go in, that's the first thing you see and you prioritize making sure I think that's the important part is the prioritizing that important task. I'm glad that you mentioned that because we
Mm.
get very busy with
Yeah.
busy
Yeah.
stuff. No.
Plus, I'll tell you this: when you start writing things down on a piece of paper, when you're transferring things from your mind onto the piece of paper, like it becomes a different reality. When we're thinking about things and keeping them in our mind, sometimes we're overcomplicating things. We're like mind goes 100 miles an hour. We're thinking about different things. We can forget about it, or we can think it's too difficult, or maybe I shouldn't do it. Once you start writing things down, everything becomes so clear. Okay. And then once you start completing those items, I cross them out really fast. I'm like, oh my goodness, I just completed like half of my to do list in like 2 hours. It wasn't
Yep.
that big of a deal. But
Yeah.
somehow in our mind, if we keep in everything in our mind, it seems bigger than it is. But once you like put it on a piece of paper, simple stuff. Just cross it out once it's done. That's it.
Yeah, and it makes you feel good, right? It gives you that
Hmm.
like a kinda like a dopamine effect where it's like, "Man, like, I just accomplished so much today," and it makes you feel good about yourself, and that's just because you just started doing lines and you're like, "That's
Yeah.
dope."
That
That's
you're being productive. You're being
yeah,
productive. You're accomplishing things. And then, towards the end of the day, you see all of the items are done. Maybe one or two are left, which you can transfer to tomorrow. You feel
yeah,
like, yeah, the job has been accomplished. I've done everything I needed to do for today. Now I can go rest and spend time with the family.
yeah. That's amazing. That's a good habit to have. Now, if you can sit down with a cleaning business owner who's working nonstop, stuck with 30, 50K a month, what's the one shift they need to make to grow without burning out?
Install operating system in the business. That's the only way, because if they don't have an operating system and they're fulfilling things in the daily operations themselves, they are going to get burnt out. They won't be able to scale. They will get burnt out because we are limited. Humans, we only have 24 hours in a day. We still have our families, our kids, our responsibilities. You only have so much time and energy, and that's it. You're limited. So you have to delegate. You have to have systems in place. You have to have an operating system installed in your business in order for your business to grow and scale to the next level without you getting burnt out.
Yeah, yeah. Operations. So the systems can run your business for you and
Hmm.
you can do what you truly want to do in your life,
Yeah.
right?
And delegating responsibilities. You have to hire people. You have to hire people. You have to
Yeah,
build it. It's not how good you are, it's how good your team is. You have to build.
yeah,
Without a team, you're stuck.
yep. Now, Paul, thank you so much. Where can people find you?
So they can find me on Instagram. I'm pretty active on Instagram. It's my first and last name, Paul Borodenko. That's my account. I also have a website for my coaching business. It's novaenterprisesllc.com. Yeah, Instagram. Instagram's probably the best place to find me. And then I also have a business page, Nova Enterprises Online on Instagram. But it's the same, pretty much the same profile. I share the same content on both pages. So yeah, and my website. They can go to my website, check out what I do. I also coach contractors because I was a general contractor for so many years, and e-commerce store business owners. So I have like three programs, and of course I have the partnership program to become a franchisee of the business if somebody is interested in that.
Yeah, we'll put all of that information down at the description below. Paul, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, and I took more time than I wanted out of your hands, but I do appreciate you very much. And yeah,
It
thank you,
was a
listeners, for listening today.
it was a great conversation. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you too.
Thank you. If you got value out of this episode and you took some notes, that is fantastic. You're one step closer to success. Now, do me a favor and share it with another cleaning business owner so that we can all learn together. My goal is to bring real stories from real cleaning business owners so that we can grow this industry together. So if you'd like that, please like and share, and I would really appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next episode.